Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Today we are looking at Helikon-Tex SWAGMAN rolls, but we're also going to do a bit of a comparison between them, because what we have here is we have both the Helikon-Tex SWAGMAN roll and the Helikon-Tex SWAGMAN roll basic. Now what I will do from now on in, if that's okay with everybody else, I'll probably refer to this as the SWAGMAN roll and I'll probably refer to this one as the basic. However, as it says on here, SWAGMAN roll poncho, and on this one it says SWAGMAN roll basic poncho. Right, so just to make sure that we're clear on that, but I think in my head it'll be easier if I refer to this one just as a basic. So where were we? Now, when you get both of these, they come as you see them here in their own little sleeve. Some of the differences between these, first off, when they're in the sleeves like this, looking at the basic, when it's packed into this, it's very tight. There are lots of different things that you can use this for, which we will have a look at. It says them here on the front. But what a useful one is just being able to use this as a cushion or a pillow. You can certainly do that with this, but because of the materials that this is made from, it doesn't compress down as much. Whereas with the SWAGMAN roll, this one definitely does. The materials that this is made from. So although these don't come with a compression bag or sack as such, it's just a liner so that you can put them into these. If you have a compression bag with the poncho, or at least the SWAGMAN roll, this will definitely compress down. So if I just squeezing it there, hopefully you'll be able to see. With a proper compression bag, you could probably get this down to roughly half its size. Now for both of these, when they are not compressed, just kind of the size of a rugby ball, roughly kind of shape. They're probably just a little bit bigger, but they're both roughly the same. But again, hopefully you'll see with this one, it does compress down a lot more. Now on the bags themselves, as I mentioned, so both of these have on here all of the different things that you can do with this. So you can wear it as a poncho liner or a wubby. You can zip these up so that you can turn it into a sleeping bag. You can use this as a mat on the floor, which I have done quite a few times while I've been out. And you can also use these as an under blanket on a hammock as well, so incredibly versatile. Now with the both of these, as I take these out, the SWAGMAN roll basic, putting this back into here, it's not difficult, but because this doesn't compress down as much, then it's just a little bit tougher to be able to get it in. Now as we're talking about the basic here, we'll talk a little bit about the materials that this is made from. So this is made from 100% polyester. The outer is polyester. There is a liner in here as well, which is the same material, which is polyester, and the insulation in this is a polyester insulation. Whereas with the SWAGMAN roll, take this out, the materials on this are a lot nicer. So this is made, the outer material on this is the wind pack material, which is very nice, and the inner insulation material on this is made from Climate Shield Apex, which again is very nice. There is a liner on here, but it's just a nice nylon liner, which is different from the liner on the outside, or at least the outer material. What you do find with the SWAGMAN roll is this is definitely a lot warmer and fits to your body a little bit better as well. So, which I will show you now. Let's just take this off. So first of all, looking at the SWAGMAN roll basic. I'm forgetting my own terminology here, but looking at the basic. Hopefully what you will see with this is that it does have quilting all throughout this to make sure, because of the liner on this, the polyester liner, anybody that's old enough to remember back to the 80s when you had some of those kind of basic sleeping bags, is that they will thin in certain areas because the material or the lining, not the lining, the insulation would eventually kind of force itself apart. So there is quilting all the way through this to stop this from separating. Over the head, they both have a decent sized hood, and there you have it. Now what you'll hopefully notice with this is, because of the quilting, these side bits just want to kind of lift themselves up out a little bit more. You'll kind of feel a little bit floaty, like a manta ray kind of thing. Now after some time, once you've had this out of the bag for, I don't know, well, not long at all, you do find that those side bits do come down quite a bit. Whereas with the SWAGMAN poncho, because of the materials that this is made from, once you have it on and it's in place, it just drapes down on you, which is, again, it's really nice when you're wearing this. The first thing that you'll notice is that this does help to keep the heat in a little bit more than the basic model does, and that is because as these bits come down here, it just helps to pocket some of that heat to make sure that it doesn't escape from the sides. That's not to say that the heat doesn't escape from the sides, mainly because when you're wearing a poncho liner like this, the wind does just kind of blow straight through. But there are ways, again, you know, we will have a look at a second how you can change that. Now another difference between the two of these, as far as the size of them, they are, and I'll put the exact measurements here, but they are roughly 2 meters by 1 meter 40. The basic poncho isn't actually square because the front and the rear are not as wide as each other. So if I try and get these so I can hold them in the corner, I'm holding the far left hand side here so that they meet, and then on the right hand side here you'll notice that there's probably maybe about 6 or 7 or 8 inches gap there. What that means is that when you have it on, that the rear of this covers a lot more of you than the front does, which isn't a big thing. Let's face it, at the end of the day, it's still over 1.4 meters wide, so you've still got plenty of room so that you can wrap this round you to keep you nice and warm. Whereas with the SWAGMAN roll, again, if I hold these so that they are in the corners like this, this one is exactly square. Now, one of the other things, which I've just left my phone on loud, you probably heard that then, that was very unprofessional of me, and I will punish myself later. One of the things that you can do with these, which is why to some of you that might make a difference, is that you can where's the zipper gone? You can turn these into a sleeping bag. So here on the front at the middle you have a zip. All of the zips on here are YKK zips, super tough and really nice. So this will zip up, but when it zips up more like a mummy style sleeping bag. So it's wider at the top, and then where your feet are down here at the bottom, it's not as wide, it's a little bit more narrow. You also have this kind of little section here where the head bit, the hood, is poking out. So all you need to do is, once you've got it on, is just pass that bit through there, and there you have your sleeping bag. As you can imagine, with me just mentioning that this one is completely square, when this zips up, it zips up completely into an exact square, or oblong, rectangle, whatever you want to call it. But the width at the top here, which is the mouth in which that you'll climb into, and the width at the bottom here where your feet go is exactly the same. Now some of the other features that you will find on here, now these are features that you'll find on both. So I'll just show you this on the SWAGMAN roll for now. But what you'll find on here, you will find exactly the same on the SWAGMAN roll basic. So already on the basic, we've noticed that there is a hood. The hoods on here are really nice. I have a reasonably large head and always find that hoods just seem to be a little bit too small. The hood on this is great. If you want to wear some hats underneath here, you certainly can do. I guess you might be able to pull this over a helmet as well, but I think it would need to be a smaller climbing skid style helmet rather than a military style helmet, but I probably should test that. But yes, okay, so you can pull this over. You have something on the front, so you can pull this a little bit tighter if you need to. Then on the corners, on both of these as well, you have these toggles. Toggles are great on here, so if you need to, and you have a poncho, you can put the poncho on, and then in the corner where you have your poncho eyelets so that you can turn it into a small shelter, you can pass these toggles through those eyelets to make sure that your wubby or poncho liner or SWAGMAN roll is connected to your poncho to make sure that if they're blowing or they're moving together, they move together in harmony and you don't find you've got a poncho wrapped around your head while you're struggling with your SWAGMAN roll to work out what's going on. They also have these elasticated toggles as well. Now this elastic runs through the bottom here. This would be your foot section, and then on the back here, this would be your head section. So these run through here. So if you want to pull these a little bit tighter, the main reason for this is so that if you have a hammock and you're wanting to use this as an undersheet or an underquilt, you can pull this a little bit tighter closer to your head and a little bit tighter closer to your feet, whichever way you've orientated it, so that it just helps to capture some of that heat around the hammock to keep you warm as well. So there you go. Now, again, other similarities is you also have these clips. So on the front section here, you have a male and female clip, and on the rear section here, you have a male and a female clip as well. So what you can do with these, similar to that scene on Rambo where he ends up in the middle of the woods, he's lost his jacket and all that other stuff, and he finds a Hessian sack and a bit of rope. So that's what the SWAGMAN roll does, and the reason that it was called the SWAGMAN is from what I understand is from a type of vagrant, type of wandering person from the US that would use similar things like these when it was a case of, you know, they just got maybe a blanket that they cut a hole into and then would tie some rope around them so that it would kind of affix like this. Personally, I find it's a little bit easier just to have this back bit closed, which makes sure that this wraps around your body, and then not having the back, or at least having this back completely open. It gives you a lot more freedom of movement so that you can do things. But you can do it the other way as well. There's no, I wouldn't say there's a right or a wrong. So if you wanted to, you could put the back bit in and clip that together at the front, and then you could take the back section or the front section, pull that round you, and then clip that together at the back. This is possibly the best setup for keeping warm. However, what I will say is it limits your movement through your arms. So if you're just trying to stay warm, maybe you're sitting down somewhere and you've just got this on, this is definitely the best setup to keep warm. But again, I think when you sat down with these buckles being exposed at the back, for me personally, I just kind of do this half setup where I just have these connected at the back, leave these a little bit kind of free flowing so that I can move my arms around and yeah, do whatever it is that I need to do. Now, just to show you exactly how this works on the SWAGMAN roll basic, just to make sure it's hopefully obvious. Oh, I've still got this zipped up, haven't I? Now, while I'm unzipping this, just to kind of talk about how I've been testing these. So this year's been a bit wet and a bit crappy here in the Kings of the Moorlands. So testing wise, rather than getting out and fully bushcraft embracing these, which I have done a little bit of, I definitely would say that I've done more real world testing with these. Examples would be, went to Carsington Water, did a bit of swimming, put one of these over the top, you know, protect my modesty whilst changing, but still keeping nice and warm when I'd got out the water. Here again, so we'll just put these together at the back. And then you can also put them together at the front as well. Days whilst out walking, I've tested these as well. Barbecues, when it's got cold in the evening, putting one of these round you is so nice. These have been in the Moorland mobile for the last 3 or 4 months, and whenever we go out and we eat or something, if one of my daughters says, "Oh Dad, I'm cold," I'll just pass it to them and use it as a blanket. The versatility from these is incredible. It's massively versatile. And again, just pulling the hood up, I will say that the hood on the basic does seem to be a little bit bigger than the hood on the SWAGMAN roll. I don't know if they are actually different, or because you know how I've mentioned with the quilting on here, that the quilting just makes it prop up and kind of sit up a little bit more, but it does appear, just kind of anecdotally speaking, as though it is a little bit larger. So there you go, so you can see how this will fix up as well. And then on here at the front, you have those same connection points, and if you want to, well actually the connection points are slightly different on here, so you don't have those pass-through eye holes that you do with the with the SWAGMAN roll, but you still do have the bungees on here, which you could still probably fix to your poncho as well, just in case. Now the last major difference is on the SWAGMAN roll. I know we've talked about you have the stuff liners with these so that you can put it in something and then you can put it wherever you want. If by chance you'd lost that or had left it somewhere, with the SWAGMAN roll you have this pocket here on the front. So while you're wearing this, if you want to put things into here, you can do. It also has a lashing point on here as well, so if you're doing stuff and you want to put a tool into here, you certainly can do. The main point for this though is, if you did forget your stuff sack, that you can take this off, and if you turn this inside out, hopefully there you'll see that there is some of the information on here. You can fold this back into its own pocket. So this is a 100% self-contained garment, so that you can do all of the things that you need to do with this and put it away if needed. Whereas with the SWAGMAN roll basic, if you want to roll it up and you want to put it away, you need to make sure that you keep the stuff sack so that you can do the two of those as well. At this point, usually I don't like to say which one I prefer. Hopefully through this I've tried to keep it as unbiased as possible as to which one I do prefer. However, it would be wrong to say that I didn't prefer the SWAGMAN roll. Because of the way the SWAGMAN roll fits, it just fits and it sits on you a little bit easier. Because of how easy it is to be able to roll this away, put it into its stuff sack, and then still, if I wanted to use this as a cushion, it's just so much softer to be able to lie on, and you can compress it down into a smaller volume if you are concerned about that sort of thing. The materials that this is made of are definitely a higher quality material than the basic. With that said though, the basic is still a very nice woobby poncho liner SWAGMAN roll. It does exactly the same as this one does, apart from that front pocket that you don't get on this. But I think what they've been able to do is create two similar products. One is the basic and one is the more premium, but I don't think they wanted to call the SWAGMAN roll I'm guessing, this is just pure guess, they didn't want to say this is the basic and this is the premium. They wanted to say that, you know, this is the SWAGMAN roll, which is why they probably named it like this. I'm kind of going off on a tangent there, but hopefully that makes sense. I think if you're on a budget and wanted to have a budget setup with a poncho and a liner, this is perfect, and it does exactly what you need it to do. Whereas if you're after something just that extra little bit further, I think with the SWAGMAN roll you definitely get a little bit more from this. Now there is a difference in price as well, which is constantly changing, which I never talk about prices, but of course I'll leave some links below so that you can see the difference in the prices between the two. I can't even remember actually. I think this might be say 50% more expensive than this one, or twice the price of this one. Again, I can't remember, but I probably should have checked. But yes, I'll leave some of those links down there. Now, I do want to say a huge thank you to Military First. Military First sent these out to me so that I could test these. I've been working with Military First now for quite some time, over 5 or 6 years. Awesome company. I do have a discount code for them as well, which is Moorlander 10, which will get you 10% discount off non-sales items. It's important that I stress that bit. If it's already in the sale, it's not an additional 10%, it's just if it's not in the sale, but hopefully it should be able to save you some money as well. So yes, I will leave the links down below for Military First. I'll leave some of my social media links here on Moorlander EDC and my sister channel, Moorlander Tactical. And whether you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Now, let's take this off. I knew I was going to do that. Right, okay. Now, I find in life, when it comes to putting things away back into stuff sacks, there are two types of people. There are rollers who roll it up neatly and put it back in as it arrived to you, as God intended. And then there are people that just stuff it in. Now personally, I'm a roller. I like to get things so that they're all rolled up and that they go in perfectly. But I'm trying to see how the other side lives by stuffing things in. Now I will say stuffing seems a little bit easier, and it also means that you don't need to put something down on the floor in order to be able to roll it up. It still just feels a bit dirty. I might need to get home and, you know, have a shower quickly just to cleanse my aura from having stuffed this in here. But I'd love to hear, what are you? Are you a roller or are you a stuffer? There you go. Yeah, there's today's question of the day. Rollers or stuffers? Why is it the ears? Why do the flies always go for your ears? Little knobheads. They are. They're just little knobheads. Little knob heads. Now it's B-roll time.